I stopped what I was doing. I went and I got on Zoom with her and I said, can we just like capture this moment? This is amazing. So we actually have that. If anyone wants to see it, I'm happy to share. Like she explained in detail from the hot seat, like what did she experience in the hot seat? And then the 4 days after that, like what did she do to take action to collect $18,000 in her business bank account from something she learned literally 4 days later?
You're listening to the 7-Figure Leap podcast. We're here to leverage rich relationships and smart strategies to take your business to the next level. Here's your host, Dustin Riekman.
Welcome to the 7-Figure Leap podcast. I am really excited today to bring you a solo episode that is going to show you how you can guarantee you get an ROI from any high-ticket program, whether that be coaching, masterminds, done-for-you services. How can you guarantee an ROI? And this came up because of a recent LinkedIn post I made where I was sharing some of the investments I've made in my own business and personal development. So last year in 2023, I invested about $50,000 in different coaching programs and group programs. This year, about halfway through 2024, I've already spent more than $50,000. It's been a little different focus this year because I'm scaling and investing really heavily in our community. However, the same approach applies. And so when you're considering a coaching program or a one-on-one coach or joining a mastermind, even a course, the question you should ask is, how can I become the number one case study for this program? And I really feel like that has been a secret to my success and the way that I've gotten an ROI literally on everything I've invested in. Because if you can position yourself, do the work, and become the number one case study or just, a featured case study for a program, there's many, many ways that can benefit you. So what I want to go through today are 3 very specific real-world examples using myself and a client to show you exactly how this is done. So the first one goes back all the way to fall 2022. I was actually launching my very first Podcast Profits Accelerator group. And there's a gentleman in that group. His name is John Meese. And he's actually been interviewed on this show. So if you want to go back and hear from John, he's really, really smart about creating online education businesses, turning your wisdom into wealth. So as I met John, he was launching his own program. And we decided to invest in each other's programs. So I was in his accelerator. He was in my accelerator. They had very different focuses. And we both, I think, became very featured case studies for each other in the results that we got. This has continued on. And so the reason this was really top of mind, and one of the reasons I wrote the LinkedIn post, was I was recently in Boise, Idaho for Craft and Commerce. So Craft and Commerce is an amazing, great conference put on by ConvertKit. And John Meese, my friend now, has the opening keynote at this year's Craft and Commerce. And so he had invited me, and it was right before we left for Italy, which was a recent topic of an episode here. That whole trip, it was not really great timing to go. However, he said, it'd mean a lot to me if you were there. I think you'll get a lot of benefit. And I said, this is a conference I've always wanted to go to. And so worked it out with my wife and family and was able to squeeze in a quick trip to Boise. So lo and behold, John is giving the opening keynote at Craft and Commerce first morning. And about a third of the way into the presentation, there's a picture. And it's John and I actually in my mastermind group earlier this year in T-shirts and shorts. It was a fun photo. Sometime that we spent together, and he used that photo to talk about me and how I had used the serve to sell framework that he teaches and he's just written a book about to grow my 7-figure business. And so he's highlighting me as a case study. He's like, hey, Dustin's been with me since the beginning. He is my most successful student. He was very transparent. I'm his client. I'm in his mastermind, and we have our own strengths, right? But I have learned this framework from John on how to sell through service, and specifically how to do what would people call quote unquote sales calls. He calls them serve calls. And he's got a very specific approach to it. And it's something I really endorse and use. So I've literally sold, probably $1.5 million of programs using that framework. And it goes all the way back to the beginning. And so he's featuring me and he's talking about me as a case study. And I was like, this is really kind. This is really neat. And of course, the rest of the conference, I got people introducing themselves to me and they recognize me when I introduced myself to them. And it was really fun. He actually has a chapter in his book devoted to 7-Figure Leap as a case study. So again, I think it's fair to say I'm one of John's top case studies. And so there's lots of goodwill, and this was very recently, so who knows what will ultimately come of it. But in this specific example, I wanted to share that I came back from Italy to a message on LinkedIn from a guy named Marcus, who I didn't actually meet at all in Boise. And the message was, hey, I've followed you on LinkedIn for a while. I was at Craft and Commerce when I heard your story from the stage with John Meese. I had to look into what you were doing, and I really want to be in your program. And he joined my program. So it just goes to show being a case study has lots of benefits. Again, I think there's going to be a lot of residual benefits too. There already have been. John's become a great referral partner. I've trained in his groups and gotten clients that way. He's trained in my group and gotten clients that way. And we have a very good symbiotic relationship. But that grew very specifically by me applying what he taught me, showing up to every call, doing the work, helping other people in the group every chance I got. And that's what I mean by become the best case study of the people you're investing in. Number 2 is a guy named Sean Anthony. If you're on social media, I follow him really on LinkedIn primarily. He's the king of email. And this was actually going into 2023. So right after I was leaving John's group, I was looking for my next thing to invest in. And I said I could really do better with email. And so I joined a group coaching program with Sean. I think it was like $3,500. And small group, I think there were 8 people in the group. And I showed up to every call. I tried to ask good questions. I tried to contribute where I could to help the group. I started having one-on-one meetings with some of the other members just to see if I could help them or they could help me, just to develop relationship. As I was launching my own accelerator and seeing the power of community and relationship building, I made that a real intention of being in Sean's group. And there were 8 people in that group. 6 of them went on to become clients in my own high-ticket flagship program, the Podcast Profits Accelerator. So you may think, well, that's kind of cruddy, right? Like you went into Sean's group and quote unquote stole his clients. Well, I didn't steal his clients at all. We do very different things. I actually served them in a very big way. I made myself an example. I was just showing like, hey, here's an email I'm going to send out today that Sean taught us last week. And here's the results that I expect, right? And I report back. So I was showing people what I was actually doing with the program that I was in, including Sean. And Sean really appreciated that. And he's like, this is super helpful because you're being an example, you're doing the work. And if you think that Sean was resentful to the fact that 6 of his people joined my program, the funnest, best part of the story is that Sean joined my program too. So Sean Anthony, who I super admired, became my client pretty much 100% because of how I showed up in his program. Okay, so this is, again, a great example. I literally had a call with him this week. We've become friends, a good referral source. I refer people to him. He refers them to me. He's in our alumni network now. John Meese is in my mastermind. So they've become deepened relationships, but I could have easily been a fly on the wall. I could have come in, showed up with my camera off on the Zoom calls, done the work, but not shared the results. I didn't do that. I said, no, I'm here. I'm devoted. I invested in this, and I want to get everything I can get out of it. And I want to let Sean know because I appreciate him and I want to respect him and show up and be the best case study I can be. And that has continued to pay dividends from the relationship with Sean Anthony. The third one I want to go through is a client of mine who, of course, now I've become their client. You can hear a lot of trends there as I invest in people. A lot of times they invest in me, and sometimes that happens in reverse order too. Cassie Shea, who has been interviewed on this podcast. In fact, she interviewed me in the very first episode. She holds a very special place for me and for this brand, and she really has given me a lot of clarity about what we're building here at 7 Figure Leap. Well, guess where I met Cassie? Sean Anthony's group. So I was in the group with her, and I liked her. She had a spark about her, a spunk. She had written a book, and she was struggling a little bit with what to do with strategy. Everything Sean was teaching was awesome, but she had some kind of offer related things. And I said, yeah, happy to get on a call. And so we had a call, and I just helped her, and she was very gracious about that. And so a little bit later, she said, you know what? I could really use help with lead generation. I love doing interviews. And she joined my accelerator. So in 2023, she became a client. And here's the part, though, if she became my best case study at that time, it was in like week 2 of the program. I'm talking very, very early on. We had a hot seat session where basically one of the members of the accelerator group is in a spotlight, right? And they're talking about a struggle or an opportunity, and the other members and myself are giving them insights and feedback and clarity and just helping them move forward. Cassie is an amazing action taker. And to the credit of the members, she got incredible advice. And we basically helped her form a high ticket offer and a front end offer in like 15 minutes on this call. And we said, we really think, with your unique ability and the things that you offer, like, what if you put this out? And it super resonated with her, and other people in the group were like, I like that a lot. I think this would be a very valuable offer around revenue operations. So I leave the state. It's Friday, Saturday. I can't remember which day. I'm at PodFest for the conference there, just attending. It was the first actually conference I had attended since COVID. So I'm late January 2023. Did my accelerator call, get on a plane. So fast forward to the end of the week, I'm in Orlando at PodFest at this conference. So I've had the accelerator calls on Monday and Thursday with Cassie and the rest of the group. And I am literally, I can remember it like it was yesterday. I'm walking through this conference room, and at that time we were on Slack. We're now on Circle, but at that time we were on Slack, and I'm getting these messages from Cassie, very excited. She's like, I've made $18,000 this week. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And she said, yeah. And so I'm asking her, and I think we had some audio notes going back and forth. And so what it turned out was the offer that was created, the high ticket offer and the front end offer, and the front end offer is like $1,500. She had went to someone in her network and said, I have this new offer, and they bought her high ticket offer that week. And then a member in the group who we had helped her create these offers said, I think this front end offer is amazing. I have people in my program that I think would really benefit from it. And he made 2 referrals. So she sold 2 front end offers and her high ticket offer all in the first week after having this hot seat. And the testament is to Cassie that she took action. She was not shy about it. And she told me literally, I'm going to be her best case study. Like, it was a stretch for her financially to join the program at that time, because she was, kind of reimagining her business, and she was shifting some things, and the cash flow wasn't as strong. And I said, I believe in you. I think I know that you can make this work. And so she basically, doubled her ROI in the 2 weeks into the program. We actually stopped. I stopped what I was doing. I went and I got on Zoom with her, and I said, can we just capture this moment? This is amazing. So we actually have that. If anyone wants to see it, I'm happy to share. She explained in detail from the hot seat, what did she experience in the hot seat? And then the 4 days after that, what did she do to take action to collect $18,000 in her business bank account from something she learned literally 4 days later? That is an example of being a massive action taker and being the best case study. And she went on over the course of 90 days to make multiple tens of thousands of dollars from that offer. I mean, of course, she was doing podcast guesting and, all the other things we teach. But honestly, the one hot seat, about 15 minutes of the program, gave her probably like a 5 or 6 ROI in the first 90 days, which is insane. But that is the power of being the best case study. So if you go in and you invest in a program, including mine, I would love for you to come and invest in mine and be one of our, top case studies. Of course, I'm going to talk about you, and let's just pretend this is you working with me, because I can tell you personally, because this is what I do for people when they take massive action, the Cassies of the world. I talk about them, right? I want everyone to know about them. I introduce them to people. Why? Because I'm proud of them. And also, honestly, it makes me look good, right? It elevates my status, because I want to celebrate the success of my clients. And whenever they're very open and, forthcoming about their success, and they're willing to talk about it and share it, of course, I want to feature them. So you've seen in previous episodes of this podcast, me talking to people, not just about, my program and what happened, but if that's part of the story, if they've been a client, of course I'm going to talk about that. Tell me about your results. What was your ROI? And these best students get massive ROIs, right? We guarantee everyone gets an ROI, but it's the best of the best, the people who want to be in that top 10%, who are going to get really special attention from me or for any mastermind leader, coach, course creator, right? Because we want to celebrate that success. I mean, I think back, this goes all the way back when I very first got into digital marketing in 2014. I went down to Austin, Texas. I was in this event with Digital Marketer. I bought this $2,000 program that I had no business buying. I was still a full-time engineer at the time. It was called The Machine. this like elaborate email funnel sort of program, and I learned a ton. And I gave them a glowing testimonial. It was just like, hey, I'm Dustin. Like, here's what I did with this program. Here's the results. I sent it to them. And you know what happened? Before I went down to that event, I was contacted and they said, like, we want to celebrate your success. You're amazing. We're going to select you into a VIP version of this event. We're not going to charge you any extra. And I got to go down the day before the actual event and spend an entire day in the offices of Digital Marketer, meeting like people I super admired, workshopping. It was my marriage business at the time. And it was, if something now you'd probably pay $20,000 for this experience. And I got it by taking the program, making the investment, doing the work, getting results. And this is the part where so many people miss out. I shared the results back to the company that I got them from. And it's that simple. And now Ryan Dice, who was there in that building or in that room leading the day, was on this podcast, several months ago. It's just, it's amazing. So I have countless examples. If I'm going to invest in someone like to help me as a consultant or to help me build a great community or to be in their group coaching program, I want to do the absolute best I can do to get success for the ROI for me. And then I'm going to tell them all about it. And I'm not doing it. I'm doing it also to support them. And so they have testimonials and things too, because I feel very passionate about like giving first. And when you give first, the law of reciprocation takes over and you're always going to benefit from that, right? So if I can give them great feedback, example, case study, testimonial, you know what they're going to want to do? Share it. And they're going to tell other people about it. And they're going to talk about me and my program and how I applied it. And that's going to generate more interest in what I do and going to really accelerate my ROI. Just like the opening story with John Meese, right? Like it was only through taking action and developing that relationship by respecting him enough to do what he asked me to do in his program and giving him feedback on it and showing him what I did. Now I'm a featured case study in all of his stuff. He wrote a chapter of his book about me. He talked about me on stage. I've gotten more than one client, but Marcus specifically, all from being the best case study that I can be. So that's my encouragement to you. For one, you should really look at, if you're choosing the right programs and you're investing with people that you can trust, then you should look at it as an investment. You'll notice I used the word investment throughout this episode. I didn't talk a lot about cost and expense. These are our investments. And when you view something as an investment, then part of that is applying yourself to get a return on your investment, the ROI, and let them know it. And it's a really great virtuous cycle. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope you can, if you've never invested in yourself, you've never invested in a coaching program, a mastermind, again, even like a course or even a book, right? Like there's lots of ways to invest in yourself. Do it always with a very intentional mindset that you want to be the best case study you can be. And I guarantee you it will bring you great things. So if you want to find out more about what we do and you want to become one of our top case studies and let me feature you on this podcast and let me feature you when I'm on stages and when I write a book, I would love nothing more than that. The first step to get started is simply to go to 7figureleap.com. Click on there to schedule a consultation. You're going to talk with one of us about your business, your goals, and we're going to talk about whether we can help you or whether maybe I say, hey, you should talk to Cassie, you should talk to John, or you should talk to Sean Anthony, right? Because that's how we operate. It's always in service to you. We want you to get the best results for what you need right now. And if that's us, I won't be shy to let you know we can help you. We'll guarantee your results if we do take you on as a client, with the full intention that I want you to 50x your ROI and be one of our top case studies. So until next time, take care. This is Dustin Riekman signing off.